Okay, so whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 10:13 a.m. I will read the Land Acknowledgement Act. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hadiwanadak, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. I'll move on to item number 3, declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? Okay, seeing none, I'll go to item number 4, adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Tim and seconded by Leslie. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is unanimous. Item number 5, adoption of the minutes from Friday, July 7th, 2023. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes?
We'll move.
Moved by John, seconded by Councillor Longo. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That is unanimous. Moving on to item number 6, correspondence. I have received a fair bit of correspondence over the past couple of weeks. I'll just touch lightly on them. I've been getting some emails and I've been responding back and forth. And this is from Mark Freeman, and he has been providing attachments related to the Northland Power Expansion Project. I hope you've been reading what he's been supplying. He's got some real insight onto what's going on with this project. Mark has also expressed an interest in joining our committee as a member. We do have an opening that's available, but what I've noticed on the city website is there is not an application form available right now. So my question, I think I can direct this to Nicholas, is there a way we can get an application form to Nicholas? And is there an opportunity for him to join the committee right now?
So regarding the question about availability, so I'm just bringing up the terms of reference here just to verify.
Yeah, thank you.
So it looks like there's a cap of 6 public representatives, so they're going to be appointed by council.
Right.
And so I think at this point we have the 2 councillors, we have the Niagara NPCA, and then I believe we have 5 members of the public. So by my count, there would be space, and I can certainly look into the nitty gritty, the process, if you will, of putting forward an application. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I mean, there's a timely issue here, but I think there's enough time that if he got an application in shortly, next council meeting, what is September 12th, so we would be in time for him to get an appointment at that time, I would think, hopefully.
Yes, we can definitely try to make that happen.
Okay, thank you. The next item on correspondence, and this was a thread that I had forwarded by Nicholas, and it had to do with, it was an issue that was raised at the off-leash dog park public information center. Rachel Hames was talking to Sean Dunsmore at the committee, and what Rachel's looking at is getting the Frog Pond Committee up and running again. So she spoke with Sean at this meeting. Now, Sean had mentioned that the Frog Pond Committee would fall under the Environment, Climate Change, and Biodiversity Advisory Committee. And she questioned that, and I'm questioning it too. I would have thought that because there's a future effort to have it designated as a park or a conservation area, that it would more likely stay under the jurisdiction of perhaps the Lake Gibson Corridor Subcommittee, which is a subcommittee of the Parks, Recs, and Trail Committee. So I guess with Sean not being here, I'm going to have to bring this up later on and see if we can get some clarification on it. I reached out to Rachel about this, but I haven't got a response yet. So that will be this will just be noted for information right now. And the second item for correspondence that I got was just this morning. I got an email from Ken Schultens, and apparently there is going to be a town hall meeting August 24th regarding Northland Power expansion. So I guess there's a lot of scrambling going on right now, and I think this is looking good for us. That be interesting to see what kind of turnout and what kind of input and comments that people are going to have at this particular town hall meeting. And it was indicated in the email that there'll be more details to come in the future. So that's it for correspondence. So if I could move on to committee business number 7.1, this is the proposed off-leash dog park. It was supposed to be Sean Dunsmore speaking, but I believe it's Dave Baldoni in his place. So I'll turn it over to Dave, and he can give us an update on the feedback from the members of public that attended this meeting.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do we have you on video at all?
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm through you, Mr. Chair. I do have some information regarding the dog park. I'm having problems with my location right. It's spotty. I'm in the arena. I'm just trying to walk around and trying to find a better location. Can everyone hear me okay?
We can hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think I have a better location here.
That's the hot spot.
Good morning. Sorry. Okay, so the discussion for the dog park, I do have some information from Hassan. Let me get to it here. So the location was chosen and the lands were donated. So the update. Specific future concerns, indigenous community. So the last correspondence I have with Hassan, regulatory compliance, a significant portion of the public seeks assurance that the proposed park adheres to regulations set by the NPCA, and they are curious if the site plan has been shared with the NPCA. So the city has involved the NPCA during the land acquisition process, and discussions with the NPCA are continuing. The Niagara region was consulted about the encroachment and entrance permits. Even though the plan has been updated, there's a planned future meeting at the region to review those alterations. In the environmental impact, there are profound worries about the potential environmental impact of the dog park. Several citizens had requested an environmental impact study to assess the impact on the existing flora and fauna and wetlands. Currently, an environmental impact study is not mandatory, but if NPCA deems it necessary, the city is ready to carry one out.
Okay. I was at the meeting, and I gathered that we really should move ahead with that environmental impact study because it was requested by just about everybody that was in attendance. They had their concerns.
Okay.
So I would suggest that we do move forward on that.
Sure, absolutely. Okay. The zoning, there was concerns raised about the project's compatibility with zoning laws, particularly in OS2, PE1, and PE2 zones. The site is presently zoned as an open space, which is appropriate for a park. The active transportation subcommittee's role. There are questions about how the project aligns with the goals of the active transportation subcommittee and whether they have had an opportunity to review the plan. And this is being planned to take place. Advisory committee. There are queries regarding the participation of the Environment, Climate Change, and Biodiversity Committee and the Lake Gibson Corridor Task Force in receiving the site plan. This is being planned as well. Specific features concerning citizens have expressed specific worries about proposed site features such as drainage, lighting, access and the potential impact of the Niagara Source Water Protection Plan. That's undergoing as well. The Indigenous community and archaeological considerations. Some concerns about involving the Indigenous community and the potential archaeological significance of the site. The Indigenous community was consulted. They have generally approved the project. The sign was incorporated by our sign design committee independently, but we will ensure the design is agreeable to them before installation. Project costs and timelines. Questions are circulating about the budget, current cost estimates of the project, and the feasibility of the proposed timeline. Alternatives. Some are suggesting the alternate location that might be less environmental impact and greater community accessibility be considered. It's important to note that the council has already given its approval to the current site. Public record. A demand has been made to include all these questions and concerns in the public record and addressed before moving forward. Environment and wildlife protection. Friends of the Richmond Street Frog Park, a group expressed concerns about the seeming lack of environmental impact study, despite it being close to the important wildlife habitats, wetlands, and water resources. They recommend more comprehensive studies on local flora and fauna and express concerns about potential pollution from dog waste and litter. Development impact on surface runoff and the proposed tree species for planting. In summary, the public's primary areas of concern encompass environmental impact, regulatory compliance, site selection, project specifics, and the involvement of relevant committees. That's what I have from Hasan.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Going to the alternatives.
Yes.
What this approval that council gave, what were they approving when they gave the okay? Like, this was obviously brought forward. I mean, this is land being donated by a family, and it's very admirable of them to do this. So this would have gone to council with an idea. Is that what that was when it was approved? So they didn't have any of the information like the EXP geotechnical study that was done or anything. They just approved this concept. Is that what I'm reading?
I believe it was the concept of a dog park.
Okay. Councillor Longo, have you got a question there? You had your hand up.
No, I don't have a question, Chair. I just thought I'd provide a bit of clarity.
Okay.
Council of the City of Thorold's been trying to find a location for a dog park for a number of years. There was talk about McMillan Park and other various existing parks in the city, and a community family had heard about this and had made this offer to the city to give this land to the city for this reason. And that's why council approved it.
Okay, I mean, I understand that. Like I said, it's very admirable of this family that owns the acreage that they've got. It's just that there seems to be the feedback I got. It was not a well-attended PIC. I think there was probably about a half a dozen people, and the family that was donating the land, they were in attendance too, and it was not a very pleasant meeting. There was a lot of concern about the site selection and other alternatives being offered. The family ended up walking out of the meeting. They were quite upset, and I recall Dave Baldoni coming in and playing firefighter. But okay, thanks for the clarification on that. John, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what size of parcel of land is this? Do we know what the acreage is? Or?
It's several acres.
Yeah, yeah, it's multiple acres. It is, I want to say it was, and I have the drawings in front of me, the hectares or the acreage is sort of unclear on my map. I'm in a
Was it about 9 acres or something?
yeah, it was roughly around 9 acres, both parcels. So
Okay, I got a picture of 10 acres in my head, so I can see that. I would just like to add a comment, and this is just a self-promotion here. Wouldn't this be an ideal location to pilot dog waste only bins?
Mhm.
so we have looked into
Yes,
the
John, facetiously.
through you, Mr. Chair. We have looked into the in-ground sort of, I think they're called Sutera, and they're sort of an in-ground dog waste bin. It's an excavated hole with a, I guess it would be sort of a bag type thing that's craned in and out of the
Okay.
hole. So we have looked into those, and they're costly. So that's something that we may have to budget for in the future.
I was thinking more along the lines of the red bin program that we've talked about in the past. So they're just regular bins. They're painted, or they're red. And I know they use them in the UK as well as in some municipalities in BC. And in a dog park, I think dog owners are more likely to self-police than they are if they're just walking on the Welland Canal Trail when no one's around, because the people who are using the dog park are going to be dog owners. And it seems to me that that would be a good place to just try to divert the dog waste that's there from the landfill stream. And it would address some of the issues around pollution that people might have. Litter is an entirely other problem that just seems to come with being enthralled.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, John. Councillor O'Hare.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to follow up on John's comments there. Having read the reports, it was also something that was on my mind. I wasn't sure if the dogs would just run freely and poop wherever they wanted to, and that would be the end of that. So I really do believe we need to do something. I would personally like to see something where that is looked after. And as John says, that dog owners are more likely, if they're getting together, to encourage each other to do the right thing. I think we should have some signage that says something, this is your park, this is your dog's park. Help keep it clean for your dog. I mean, we don't want the dogs to be stepping in it either when they're running around. So I think with a little bit of education and signage, we could make this an area that sets an example. And then perhaps it also starts to filter through to the community and other areas as well.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Councillor. There's some points that are being made here, assuming that this project is going forward. But I think the issues that were raised at the PIC is these people that were asking questions want to be absolutely assured that this is not creating any kind of environmental impact in the area, because you've got water, you've got geese that are nesting along the shorelines. There's going to be nighttime lighting, the extra traffic that's coming into the area, maintenance of the park. And then something that has to be considered too is the winter time, the way our winters are going right now. I mean, parks are being used 365 days of the year. So you're going to have people out there in the wintertime. I see them at Battle of Beaver Dams Park, people walking down. We get a snowfall and the snow's melting within a day or two, and the people are down there with their dogs running around. So we've got year-round maintenance has got to be, I think, taken into consideration. So we've got a parking lot that's going to be sanded or salted. We've got to make sure that the problems that are going to be introduced through the maintenance aren't going to have an environmental impact, besides the fact that the people that are coming in and might be littering or not cleaning up after themselves. So I see there's certain things taken into consideration, that they don't really want it to be a picnic area. Although that may come later on down the road, if through what Councillor O'Hare is talking about, like signage and education, getting people looking after it like it's their own property, then I'd say that there's reason to move forward, but we really have to make sure that the people that have raised questions of environmental impact, that they're absolutely confident that this is the right decision to make. Any other comments? John?
Yeah, I would just add, the only off-leash dog park that I'm actually familiar with is one in Vancouver, and it is a beach. So it's right down by the ocean, and it's highly accessible. It's very popular. There are dogs running in and out of the waves and back onto the beach and so on. And I've walked through there, I don't know how many thousands of times, and I've never ever seen any dog waste. Because it is reinforcing. It's self-patrolling.
Okay.
So that's just a point I would make, that there's a possibility that we can address that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Longo.
Yes, thanks, Chair. I just wanted to add, there is an off-leash dog park in St. Catharines at Burgoyne Woods. It is quite heavily used. When my dog was alive, we used to take her there. Dog owners, I find, that go to off-leash dog parks are responsible dog owners. You obviously will put signs up, but you find a park, because if you want to bring your dog around to run around, like Councillor O'Hare says, you don't want them running in other dogs' waste. So dog owners clean up after each other in that environment. So
yeah,
by all means, I agree. If there are questions about environmental issues here, when the report comes to council, those comments will be captured, staff can respond to it, and council can consider those.
Good.
But I'm really saddened to hear that the family who donated the land was treated this way. I didn't hear that till right now, but I just want to go on record that's really concerning to hear comments like that.
Yeah, I was there, and I was, I just couldn't believe. It wasn't that they were being attacked. It was just the people that were there could not believe that with the number of other parks that exist in Thorold, why they would choose to locate a off-leash dog park in such an environmentally sensitive area. And the people might not have known that McMillan Park had been discussed years ago, and they might want to know, well, why was it ruled out? Was it just because this family was donating the money, and so the city was taking an easy way out? Who knows? But anyways, that's what happened. But I would like to comment too. There is another off-leash dog park in Fenwick on Highway 20 and Center Street, out by Peninsula Lakes Golf Course, I think. It's right across the street. Really nice. Not quite as big as I think what's being proposed for Beaver Dams area, but it is a really nice dog park, and I've seen it used a lot, and it does seem to be well maintained. So that just has to be the reassuring point, that dog owners are responsible, and there's going to be absolutely no environmental impact in this particular area if they want to move on with it. Any other comments on this? Okay, hearing none. Thanks, Dave. We can move on to.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, was there some sort of recommendation for an EIS? I wasn't sure.
Oh, yes. Yeah, do we need a motion for that?
If that's what you're proposing to do, yeah, I would recommend that.
Okay, can I get a motion for an environmental impact study to be done? Councillor O'Hare, and seconded by Councillor Longo. I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Chair,
Oh,
can I
Chair.
say something?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we can't recommend and tell the city to do that,
Okay.
right? We can make a recommendation to council.
Okay. Oh,
And
so
maybe
then
the clerk
council,
can clarify this, but we can't tell staff to go ahead and do work because we want it.
Right,
This
for
committee can make
clarity, the-
recommendations for council to move forward.
okay, so this is just a recommendation for council?
Correct. In my opinion.
Okay, and then you can clarify what you're asking for, because at that point, you have the authority, whereas the committee doesn't?
Correct. And
Okay.
again, the clerk may want to clarify, but we can't direct staff to do anything.
Okay,
We can ask council to direct staff.
correct. Okay, so with the motion,
correct. I apologize for any lack of clarity there. That it would be a recommendation to council, but ultimately, yes, as Councillor Longo has noted, it's council that would make that decision.
okay, so we would be asking council to direct staff to do an environmental impact study? Or have an impact study done? Councilor
Yeah,
Longo?
yes.
Okay, can you do the
Chair,
wording?
if I could could I make the motion, please?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we refer the citizens' comments from the public information session to council to review,
Okay,
and that the environmental committee recommends that council moves forward with an environmental impact study.
okay, that covers everything. That covers all the comments then. Okay. Okay, can I have a mover and a seconder for that motion? Moved by Leslie and seconded by Councillor Longo. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Okay, that's carried. Well, thanks for that clarification. Okay, I guess we can move on to Councillor O'Hare.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question through you to Councillor Longo. Councillor Longo, do we need to do a notice of motion for that, or can we just present that at the next council meeting? Or do we have to do a procedural bylaw to get this to the table soon enough?
Again, I believe that the clerk can clarify this. When this report comes forward from staff regarding the dog park, that these comments will be captured in the report, I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
Any comments on that, Nicholas?
Right. So without knowing the status of the report, depending on the date in which council essentially referred this to staff, that information can be relayed back to staff, correct? But in terms of bringing it to council, Dave, did you touch on timelines? I'm not sure if this is something that would require procedural bylaw waiver on September 12th, or whether it could be pushed forward as a notice of motion to the following meeting. I wasn't sure about timelines here.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Chair, the environmental impact study was not mandatory, but if the NPCA wanted to pursue one, that could be brought forth. We could proceed in that nature.
But the time frame, sorry, of like the work or whatever, that can always be just up for it's flexible. Okay.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. So that the opening of the dog park is slated for spring of 2024. So I think there's lots of opportunity to perform this study, the flora and fauna, and have the study completed through the summer, end of the summer and fall months.
So if
Thank
I can
you.
ask a question. Oh, sorry, Nicholas, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna, through you, Mr. Chair, to address Councillor O'Hare's question. Given that information, I suppose you could bring it forth as a notice of motion rather than the need for abridging the timeframes, waiving the procedural bylaw.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. If I could ask a question, Dave, if this is going to be opening in 2024 spring, so when's the work going to start?
To you, Mr. Chair. There isn't a ton of work. There would be some excavation in the front for the parking lot, the new entrance. It's not a lot of work to be completed now. And it'll be a staged sort of development with multiple phases.
Oh, so fall and spring?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions that might come forward out of this particular topic? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to 7.2 Northland Power expansion. Is that your responsibility to put forward, Dave? Or do we have,
So, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. That I have no knowledge upon. That would be more of a Sean.
so are we deferring this? Nicholas?
So through you, Mr. Chair, can certainly defer it, and I'm not sure if maybe that would be appropriate as well, given you mentioned that there was a virtual town hall the week of August 21st. So is it possible that there may be some updates that would flow from that as well?
Okay, if there is the town hall, that was August 21st. Our next meeting, what is September 1st? That still gives us 2 weeks before, almost 2 weeks before the council meeting, where this is all gonna, I guess Northland's gonna do their presentation, right? Okay, are we okay deferring this then until the next meeting? And we can load up our questions at that particular meeting. I think we do have a lot of questions. Really what this is about, what Sean would have been presenting was just comments from the July 6th PIC that was held. Are the comments available, Nicholas? Are they posted on the website at all? Or can we get copies beforehand so that the committee can look at what was discussed at the PIC?
Mr. Chair, the PIC that was held in early July?
Yeah.
Or I'm not aware of a document summarizing what was said. I can certainly look to see if anyone on staff is aware of that.
Okay, Councillor Longo?
Thanks, Chair. I just want to, I think, clarify, the PIC held in July, that wasn't a City of Thorold PIC.
Oh, yes, right.
It was held by Northland, right? So the City of Thorold has, I think, limited information on this. I don't want to speak for Sean and engineering.
Oh, okay.
Without him here, but all the information provided has been by the proponent, Northland.
Okay, I get it.
And I believe this follow-up PIC, virtual or whatever it is, this is another proponent's PIC. So for us to gather the information, it would have to come from their website.
Okay. Okay, that's why you indicated that there was no handouts at the at that public forum. It was just basically easels. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just defer this till the September 1st meeting. We'll see what we get out of this town hall meeting moving forward. Is everybody in agreement with that? Councillor O'Hare?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to ask, we're calling this a town hall, but is this actually going to be at City Hall, or is this going to be at John Michael's again, like last time?
The email I got from Ken Schultens just indicated it was a town hall meeting, August 21st, and more details were to come later. Okay. I don't know if he forwarded it to councillors at all. Did you get that this morning?
No.
Okay, it was directed to committees. I believe maybe just committee chair.
Okay.
Okay. We'll get some clarification. I can reach out to Ken to see what he might have to offer so we can prepare. Okay, then let's move on to item 7.3, the environmental impact statement regarding Northland Power expansion. This is a draft that John Hamilton's working on, so we've got time to look at it and possibly offer suggestions or viewpoints. Councillor Longo?
Yeah, Chair, I just want to jump in quickly and let John do his job for sure. I did mention to you in an email, I have to leave at 10:55.
Yep.
I don't want to lose quorum. I will go on my phone and I will be listening, okay?
Okay.
Till around 11:20 and then I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
So just
Yeah.
to let you know.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, John, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's pretentious to call this an environmental impact statement. I thought about doing an environmental impact statement and I thought, what qualifies me? So what I've done is essentially drafted something that if I were standing in front of council and this were coming to a vote, what would I say?
Mhm.
So that's what these remarks are. And it essentially tries to put this expansion of the Northland plant into a context that most of us are aware of. And just make the point that if we don't stop now, there's probably no chance to stop. And this is just another fossil fuel development that needs to be stopped. That's a personal opinion. As I say, this is what I would say to council if I were addressing council on this issue. And I would urge them to vote no.
Sure. My question is, like they want to do an expansion on it, and it's got to provide a return on the investor money. And I look at like, is there a point in time where this plant is going to be predicted to be decommissioned? I mean, they're expanding, so that means it's going to be operated for umpteen number of years. And we've got this net zero goal that is out there to be achieved, and this just flies in the face of it. Leslie, you got a comment?
Yeah, I hate to be an environmentalist that makes this comment, but in my estimation, I think with study, this should go ahead for one reason only. We need energy to get from where we are today to zero. And during that period of time, manufacturing all sorts of things that you don't think of that need energy are going to be relying on some source. And it would be lovely to say no fossil fuels from now on. But I remember back when we were talking about reusable things back in the early 90s, or no, the late 80s. And I had to go to high schools and talk to them about the 3 R's. They were relatively new. And some student in every class I went to in high school said, look at McDonald's. They have gotten rid of their clamshells and they're going with paper. And as an environmentalist, I hated to have to say this too. Has anyone looked at the footprint that the forestry and lumber industry has on the earth? It has the largest negative impact. And changing to paper products was not a great option, but it got people interested in going the final steps that are necessary. And I see this project in much the same way. I haven't studied it. I haven't looked at it. I mean, you're just getting proponents' views at this point, and that's always a problem. I've always had that problem, but it's a start. But you have to keep an open mind, because we can't go from today's stopping using oil and gas to tomorrow doing everything with the 4Rs, with wind energy and so on. It takes a while to build that up so it can take over completely from what we're using right now. And as my husband and my son, who's an engineer, says, you're never going to get rid of all uses for gas or oil, because when you're making steel, construction uses, there are all sorts of things that you're going to need that basic energy, but a much smaller amount in the future. If we're ever going to get to the point where the government is pushing us. That's why the government is talking about paying, even if the solution comes faster than we thought, they will decommission them, but still pay them so they can get this up and running, so they can get through that period. And we need to think about that as a committee, because a lot of people just look at the negative and the positive, and they miss the in-between getting there. And I'm sorry, I'm shut up now.
No, very good points you raised. And I think what people need to hear is the justification has to be put forward for this expansion. But they have to show hard numbers that justify the need, and not because they are padding their bottom line. And there seems to be conflicting viewpoints between what I'm seeing, some of the documentation that I've been receiving from Northland's, the corporate side, and the local management side in the facility itself. They're not even on the same page, and this has got to be explained. Like, why does local management seem to believe that it's not the right idea? So this is, I think we're going to start getting some answers at various meetings, because they realize there's so much no, we don't want it, that they've got to come up now, and they've got to start putting forward a strategy to say, this is why we are moving forward. So you're right, Leslie, I get it. It's not just dig in and say, absolutely not, we're not going to take it, but somebody's got to say, this is why we need it. Councillor O'Hare?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say through you to John, I really like this report, John. It has some really good points, and I might even encourage you to bring it to council and speak to us directly at council. I particularly love the last sentence. Actually, it's two: if not who, if not now, when, right? Very, very significant. And as our chair has pointed out, there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered. Bottom line is we're going to be pumping more greenhouse gases into our environment. So is this something that we see as something that we can tolerate and accept, or is it something that we have to put our foot down and say, no, we have to look at other options? This won't be up and running until 2027, should it even go ahead as a plan. I have to look back at what our premier did when he canceled all the natural green energy facilities, and how he shot himself in the foot with that move. We'd be in such better positioning than we are today. And I know, as Northland tends to point out, that of course the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow, but our technologies are getting so much more advanced with storage that I think I'll go out on a limb here that by 2027 our facilities for storage are going to be quite remarkable. So I think this is a quick fix. I think it's a guaranteed fix for Northland. I mean, they can't lose. No matter how much they pour into this, we will, as taxpayers, continue to pay them, foot the bill, even if they supposedly do shut off. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be encouraged through other governments to just keep rolling. And these are some more of the unanswered questions. Everyone talks about the diminishing of greenhouse gases and our goal to hit net zero, but in reality, governments can do some pretty strange things along the way. So if not now, when? If not us, who? So that's where I'll leave it. And thank you for it.
Thank you, Councillor O'Hare. John, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, please, through you, Mr. Chair. Northland does say the wind doesn't always blow, the sun doesn't always shine. But if you look at their website, all the projects that are on their website are wind and solar, and they're building battery storage, huge battery storage capacity. Germany, which has a population of 84 million people and which shut down all of its nuclear plants, got almost 50% of its power, its electricity last year from solar or wind. So the wind blows in Germany, the sun shines in Germany, it does in Thorold too, you know?
Leslie, you got, yep.
The one thing that, the one thing that I would add, and Northland makes this point in their explanation here, they're going to be using methane in this facility, what they call renewable natural gas. By that they mean swamp gas, or stuff that hasn't decomposed fully, and so is giving off methane. It's not renewable unless we continue to keep disposing things in such a manner that they produce methane. They do make the point that when they burn methane, it produces carbon dioxide, and that methane is 25 times more potent at heating the environment than carbon dioxide. They estimate between 10,000 and 50,000 tons of carbon dioxide per year. I think the broad range is they don't know when this plant is going to be running and when it's not. I'm one of those people who believes if you build it, they will come. Mm-hmm. So I think probably the top end is the baseline, and it can only go up from there. If they were suggesting that they would burn methane rather than natural gas in their current facility, I might be a little more supportive. But this is just to supplement what they're doing with fossil gas. Sorry, I said natural gas. I didn't mean to say natural gas, it's fossil gas. I know it's natural, but so is syphilis. Nobody wants that. So they're coming at it from the point of view that burning this methane is going to be better than burning fossil gas. And it may well be, but I'm at the point where I think we do have to stop now. 2027 is 4 years from now. 4 years after that, we're supposed to be completely free of fossil fuels in our electrical generation system in Canada. So I don't see how this works. They've guaranteed 19 jobs till 2040. I don't know how you guarantee anything until 2040 in the current circumstances. Mm-hmm. So I rest my case.
Thank you, John. Leslie, you've got your hand up.
Yeah. I haven't read everything, but the use of methane is interesting because Walker Brothers probably has the largest supply of methane from the landfill that's presently there. And the way that they take care of their methane is basically to release it to the atmosphere. So that should be something that is looked at as well, because I would imagine if we dug, or maybe that Walmart or that Walker Brothers is going to be a partner in this proposal, because they've long talked about being able to use the methane that's produced, and they consider it natural, in their landfill, because they put waste there and then they just dump them off across the street from us at Beaver Dams. That's vented for methane from an old landfill as well in that park. There's all sorts of things that people don't know, but the one point I wanted to make that has nothing to do with that. After they had this meeting in August. It would be nice if we made maybe a recommendation to council that council then hold a series, because they should go different places, of public meetings as their meetings, not the proponent. The reason there was probably a problem was the fact that they were dealing mostly with the proponent, and there was no, it was the citizens against the proponent more so than against the people with the dog park. If you're talking to council, if we made a motion that they hold a series of public meetings to discuss the public's concerns and issues from our point of view, rather than just letting them go to open houses. When we got involved with Walker Brothers back in 1980, it started out as a small ad, about 4 lines on page 16 of Thorold News. We went to the meeting that wasn't held in Thorold. Even though we're closer to Walker Brothers, it was held in Niagara Falls. And when we went there were hardly any people there. And the media then wrote articles that said nobody cared. Everybody thought it was a great idea. If they didn't, they would have shown up. That meeting was held on an Easter Monday, which I thought, you know, if you want to have a meeting, that's a good deal. Other than that, maybe Boxing Day. You know, if you want to make sure that you can publish, we tried, you need to pick meeting dates that people actually will attend. And when they challenged me, when I said that there were lots of people that were interested but didn't even know about this meeting, they said, prove it. So we did. And the Walker Brothers and the government dropped the proposal, and we do not have a hazardous waste site on the other side of the canal from us.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to see a motion from asking for a series of public meetings to discuss whatever comes out of that open house that they're holding.
Sure.
And if
Yeah.
we go ahead and council does, they'll look like they're proactive rather than reactive.
Right. Made some good points there, Leslie. If I could just touch on the Walker Brothers with the methane gas that's produced. They do have a contract. They have a pipeline supply to the General Motors Glendale Ave powertrain division plant. I think that that probably went online a few years back. I don't know if, I think maybe there's a regional works facility on Old Town Line Road. I think they're getting methane. And I've noticed that the Silver Line yard that just was recently built out there, there's vent pipes that they've got out front, their front parking lot. So I don't know if they're getting methane from walkers as well. So I don't know how much they have contracted out. They might have something on their website. It might be worth looking into to see what they're doing. But anyways, some good comments there. Councilor O'Hare, did you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to add something and let John know that I lived in Germany for 2 years in the south, a city called Freiburg. And if you have the chance to look it up online, Freiburg is now known as the Green City. So it's Freiburg. So they've started green initiatives, probably 25 years ago. And here's a fact. They hope to be using 100% renewable energy by 2035. They are one of the greenest cities in Germany, and their goal is to be carbon neutral in 2050 as well. And one thing I just wanted to point out is, having lived there, the sun doesn't shine nearly as much as it does here, nor do they have the winds like we have here. So if they can do it, we certainly can. So,
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, just a procedural note. So as I understand it, Councillor Longo will be leaving the meeting at 11:20, at which point we will not have quorum. So what I would advise is I would have to end the meeting at that point. You can certainly continue your discussion on minor things, but if you wanted to get more of the important details going before 11:20, because at that point the meeting will essentially be adjourned and I'll be ending the YouTube stream, just
Sure.
so you're aware.
I'm just before I go to you, Leslie, I'm just gonna say, I think we've just about wrapped up what's really important in the meeting. I'm gonna go with Leslie, and then we'll move on with the rest of the agenda. So Leslie, you go ahead.
I just wanted to say something about Tim's discussion about Germany. In 1987, we took a number of consultants and lawyers to Germany to look at hazardous waste sites. And at the time, we also went to Sweden and Denmark, and we looked at their recycling facilities. They were in downtown areas with built up all around them, and they were doing things in 1987 that we still are not doing in North America. And you're right, Tim, we have to start looking at others and what they've done if we're ever going to get there. Why reinvent the wheel? Look at what others are doing and emulate them and move ahead. I sit back and I think about our recycling and how that has developed, and it's developed great, but I think we could have been so far ahead by now if we had just taken, we brought all the information back. We passed it on to the provincial government as a crown agency, but here we are. So sorry, I won't take it any more time.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. Good points. I'm going to wrap that up with that particular discussion, 7.3. 7.4, the environmental impact statement regarding McDonald's that we were looking at. Unfortunately, John, we're going to have to withdraw that. I did learn through the Heritage Committee, we had submitted a heritage impact study to the City Council, and basically we were told that we were too late. The process had gone on too far for us to submit the statement. It's unfortunate that the public meeting that would have been held for the McDonald's proposal was held before our committees were even formed. And we only learned of the McDonald's proposal at the council meeting, which was February 8th. Our first heritage meeting was January 31st. So we were already out of the equation at that point, which is really unfortunate. Our committee, we've never had a break in our terms, and we finished our last meeting this past term was in July. So we went 7 months with no heritage committee, and things were happening that we were not being made aware of. Even if we would have gone to the public meeting for McDonald's as a citizen, we wouldn't have been submitting a heritage impact statement as a committee. So it's unfortunate, but we learned. So it was a good report that you had done. Anna O'Hare did an excellent report for representing heritage. But we'll move forward and see. Hopefully, from a heritage point of view, I'm hoping, and I haven't really looked into this, but maybe we may be able to influence the developer on the design of the facility so that it is a little bit compatible with the streetscape of that particular area it exists in. We know what standard McDonald's looks like, and it just is not going to fit the look of it. We've never been against McDonald's locating. It's not about that. It is the wrong location, though. It's a residential area, and McDonald's do not exist in residential areas. So this is going to be a first with traffic problems and other associated issues that are going to come along with it. But anyways, thank you very much for your effort on that particular statement. Yes, John.
Yeah, I would just add, there's a real irony in the fact that if you stand on towpath, a bus will come by with the number 320 on the front, and you can get on that bus, and in 10 minutes, it will deposit you outside of McDonald's.
At Brock University?
No, on Glendale.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I know where you're talking. Yeah,
And it's literally a 10-minute ride on a bus. So
Yeah.
it's probably only a 7-minute drive.
yeah. Well, even the one out at Brock, I mean, the population that exists out there, you got 20,000, almost 20,000 students, 5,000 staff, plus you've got all the residences that are out there, so the students aren't all leaving. You've got regional headquarters, you've got a lot of businesses out there. And, to put a McDonald's in the downtown of Thorold, it just doesn't make sense. You have to attract a lot of people to make that thing make money, and it's going to be cars. Yes, John.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I understand the heritage concerns, but I would reiterate, just because this really crossed me, to locate it across the road from an elementary school.
Yeah. Councilor O'Hare.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to John. John, you probably won't be surprised, but I remember when Councillor Longo asked in council if the DSBN had any objection to this McDonald's being beside their school, and there was nothing. So
He didn't respond.
nothing, which I'm not sure why, but there was nothing there. So I just wanted to mention that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we've got just a couple minutes left before the meeting is going to end. So let me just move on to 7.5, the Earth Day event 2024. I did a proposal to council Wednesday night. It was very well received. I think I get the sense that some of the people I talked to, Councillor Biodiversity, our CAO, our mayor, I think they want this to be a slightly bigger event than I was really anticipating. But, I'm willing to work with them. Like I indicated, I've participated in Earth Day events as a vendor 6 times in the past 7 years. And I'm looking at modeling the event after ones that I participated in Hamilton and Oakville, which were really great. They were heavy on education. There were some retail vendors there that are selling environmentally products, but I'm looking at the demographics targeting the 10 to 18-year-old group for inclusion, to get them actively involved. After all, they're the future environmental stewards. And I did reach out to one group in Hamilton. It's an environmental learning academy that I collaborate with, Eco House, and it's not a full-time school, but the kids, they enroll in environment learning, and they have just established a youth power group for climate justice, and it's a school organization. And I reached out to them because they just formed, and asked them if they wanted to participate. They were extremely ecstatic because this is a groundbreaking for them. So they're looking at probably establishing satellite groups throughout the Niagara Peninsula. So if we can get something put together that can get the youth engaged, I think it's going to propel it at a faster speed than trying to get old people to change bad habits. So let's move forward on that one.
Mhm.
Okay, looks like we got about 3 minutes. So I'll defer working group updates, and if anybody has anything for roundtable, go ahead. John?
I have a quick question through you, Mr. Chair, to Councillor O'Hare. What is the status of the 10,000 trees project? Does that have to go to council? And
So
would,
sorry
and-
to interject. I just want to announce we have lost quorum at this point.
Okay,
So what I'm going to be doing is if you can adjourn the meeting at this point, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
And I'll be ending the stream and recording.
yeah, okay. Seeing as there's no further business to discuss, I'll call for an adjournment on this meeting. Our next meeting is September 1st at 10 a.m. Thank you.